normally are, no problem. A bunch of people that are normally on the call are still in the meeting, so they'll join when they join. Welcome, everybody. Let's get rolling. Phil, good to see you again. All right, today we're going to talk about time management. And time management, this is a very relevant topic for right now because October is just a couple of days away. And what do we start to think about once we hit October, right? October, November, December. It's holiday season is right around the corner. We're seeing, we're seeing all the Halloween decorations pop up on people's lawns already. Pretty soon you're going to see Thanksgiving stuff and then Christmas stuff, and you're going to say, Christmas stuff already? Well, it's all around the corner. And what happens this time of year, we start to get into the holidays. What ends up happening is we go on vacation, mental vacation. We don't have to go on a physical vacation. We can still go on a mental vacation, right? So what's super important is to discuss right now to get ahead of this before we get into the last quarter of the year, and we still have a few days, to really mentally prepare for this last quarter and really define our approach for this last quarter. So the quarter just doesn't get away from us without us being really decisive in our actions. What you don't want to happen is all of a sudden the end of the year rolls around and you look back and you say, where the hell did the time go? What the hell did I do over the past 90 days? Like, I was completely ineffective. So one of the things that we like to do to get ahead of it is to pay attention and create some degree of time management schedule expectations so that we can fulfill on that and feel good as it's happening. So the first thing that we do is in the beginning of this last quarter, this is something we do in the beginning of the year, but we can do it again. And it's almost like a business planning just for the last quarter of the year because it's such a unique time of year with the time off and the days off and the expectations and all this stuff. So in the beginning of the quarter, which we're at right now, determine how many days you're going to work, how many days you're going to work, how many days you're going to take off. And then after you've done that, subtract 10% from the number of days worked. Because just assume that you're going to mentally go on vacation, get sick, whatever, catch a cold, who knows what. So really pull out a calendar and say, am I going to take, some time in October? How many days am I going to take off in November? How many days am I going to take off in December? Right? Historically, what we've always done, we just shut down between Christmas and New Year's that week. Not much is going on. So we just shut it all down and we just take it easy and enjoy our families, take a few days for Thanksgiving. But once you actually determine how many days you're going to work and how many days you're not going to work, then you don't have to feel guilty when you're not working. There's nothing worse than taking time off, but not being mentally off, not giving yourself that grace, not giving yourself that gift of time off because you feel like you haven't earned it. So this is a wonderful time to really take a stand and make a determination. This is the days that I'm going to work. These are the days that I'm not going to work. And then when you're at work, you work. You really show up. You pay attention. And when you're not working, you unplug. In fact, take your damn phone, turn it off, throw it in a drawer somewhere, forget it for a little bit of time. So that's one wonderful way to just eliminate guilt, is to schedule it all in advance, okay? Point number 2 on time management. Point number 2, your schedule should always be based on the goals that you have set for yourself, not anything else. They should be based on your production, right? Not anyone else's. So if you're somebody that wants to do 20 sales a year, 10 sales a year, 50 sales a year, 100 sales a year, whatever it is, let's say your goal is 25. Are you going to choose a schedule that somebody that does 150 sales a year that works? If your goal is 25, are you going to choose a schedule that somebody says, I only want to sell 1 or 2 homes per year? You can choose their schedule. Definitely not. Choose a schedule, build a schedule, and define a schedule that is based upon your goals. So work backwards, reverse engineer it. How many transactions do you want to do? How much time do you have to devote towards prospecting, towards lead follow-up, towards going on appointments, towards negotiating contracts, towards administrative work? But start with the prospecting. If you want to do 25 deals a year, you're probably going to have to talk to between 25 and 50 people a day. That takes 2 to 3 hours. It can take 4 hours. Do you have a schedule built around your personal production, your personal goals? Oh, so-and-so prospects 4 hours a day, so I'm going to prospect 4 hours a day. Maybe because you speak with your past clients in your center of influence all the time, you only have to prospect for an hour and a half a day, and you get all the results that you could ever want. Maybe you can take 1 listing, 2 listings a month just by doing that for an hour and a half a day. So why run yourself ragged and prospect 4 hours a day if that's not necessary to helping you achieve your goals? In fact, if you do more than you need and you're forcing it and it's a push, all you're going to do is burn out. That's a sure way not to achieve your goals. So really getting in alignment with what your goals are. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about building a schedule, maintaining a schedule, or you guys got that pretty much cued in? Are you comfortable with how to do that? And by the way, when we talk about schedules, schedule doesn't have to be, it's a working document. It's very malleable. It can change shape over time, right? So if you build this schedule, I'm going to wake up at, 4:30 every morning and work out. Try that for a week and say, you know what? I'm freaking exhausted. This is not working for me. Let me wake up at 5:30 and figure out my workout, right? I'm going to get to bed at 8:30 every night so I can wake up at 4:30 in the morning. My kids are still up at 8:30. They're not going to bed. I'm not going to, good night, kids. Bye, everybody. No, that's not realistic for me. I'm going to leave myself 18 minutes for lunch. If that's not realistic, don't do that. Take an hour, relax, read a good book, have some healthy food. Make it workable so you can actually change the schedule over time, and you should. It's a constant document that is being worked on and improved and changed until it reaches a format that is really workable for you. Next point with regard to time management. Treat your business as if it were a real job, which makes your schedule easier to follow. Treat your business as if it were a real job. You guys remember when you had a real job before real estate? Maybe you didn't. Maybe real estate has been your only job. When you show up to a job, you just show up when you want, right? Phil, you got to be here at 8:30 a.m. at the office. Yeah, okay, I'll see you guys at 11. I feel like coming in at 11. I know everyone else is clocking at 8:30. Me, 11:30. I don't know. Maybe sometimes I like to sleep in. And lunch break. I know it's an hour. I'm gonna take 2. You guys don't mind. You guys go ahead and work without me. I'll be back in 2 hours. Treat your business as if it's a real job. It is. It is a real job. If you want to have a level of efficiency and success in what you do, treat it that way. Give it the respect it deserves. Next point. If you limit the amount of time you work, you force yourself to be more effective in the time that you do work. So how about going on vacation? You guys ever find you get super efficient the day before you go on vacation? You get like, holy cow, look how productive I am. You're just knocking through stuff like it's nobody's business. Thank you for everything, Brett. I'll call you in a little bit. I want to chat about some stuff. So, gosh, the day before you go on vacation, right? It's like you are like 10 people doing the work you're like 10 people just running around. Like you could do that level of productivity because you're motivated, because you have a specific time frame and that you're following, and you will, you don't have an option. I've got to get it done. You give yourself 10 hours to do something that only takes an hour. A lot of people will take the entire 10 hours. Seems like they all work at the post office or the DMV or something like that, right? There's no urgency. You clock in, you show up, right? And they couldn't care less if it takes all day, because they don't get paid on performance. They just get paid to clock in and show up. So limiting the amount of time you work, I'm going to show up at the office at 8 a.m. I'm leaving at 5 p.m. Can you mute yourself, Chad, please? Thank you. I'm showing up at 8 a.m. I'm stopping working at 5 p.m. I have a certain number of things I want to get done during the day, and God damn it, I'm going to get them all done. I'm going to do my prospecting. I'm going to do my lead follow-up. I'm going to go on my appointments. I'm going to negotiate contracts. I'm going to do my administrative work. I'm going to practice some role play in the morning. Whatever it is, limit the amount of time that you have, especially on the non-income producing activities. Can we spend all day just checking emails? Right? Let me just jump onto Facebook or Instagram or whatever for 5 minutes. That doesn't happen. An hour later, are you kidding me? I can't believe what I just... Limit the amount of time you spend, and you'll get much more efficient during that time. Next point, do the most productive thing possible first thing during the day. Anybody ever read the book Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy? Great, great book. If you need to improve your productivity, this is a book that you need to read. It's called Eat That Frog, and it's written by Brian Tracy. And the premise of the book, essentially, the reason for the title is, if you had to eat a frog every single day, and a frog represents your biggest, ugliest, gnarliest things that you need to do each and every day, but that are going to move the needle of your business more than anything else, right? So like eating a frog is not like, oh, I need to like, I don't know, like make flyers, for this week's open house. A frog is like, no, I've got like 5 super hot leads that I need to follow up with and set those appointments. So you do them first thing and really attack those with positivity and all the energy you got, and those will have the biggest, most positive impact on your day. So always look at the most productive things possible that you can be doing. Now, one thing that we discussed a couple days ago, some of us, is there's almost this quadrants that you can build, this set of quadrants. And one side of the scale is importance, and the other side is urgency. So there are some things that on the quadrants that are very high importance and very high on urgency, right? They're high on both. There's some things that are very low on importance and very low on urgency. So there's ways that you can prioritize your day. What are the most highly important and highly urgent things that I need to do? That's number one. And number two would be probably highly important. Well, you'd have to then choose. You do highly important and not urgent, or highly urgent and not important. But then certainly the last thing is low on urgency and low on importance. Those things, throw them out. Don't even do those things. Delegate those things. So really looking on how to prioritize your day to be effective every day. Okay, next point, time versus motion study. We've talked about this before. Has anybody ever tried this, a time versus motion study? For those that haven't or that don't know what it is, let me tell you. So essentially, you're keeping track of your time, hour by hour. It's best to do this for like a 1 to 2 week period of time. It helps you to identify the strengths and weaknesses of your time management system. There you go. Joe's got it. So essentially how you do that, as Joe, AKA Vanna White, has beautifully displayed to the group, you take a piece of paper and you write down whatever time you start, 7 o'clock, 7:15, 7:30, 7:45, 8 o'clock, 8:15. And every 15 minutes, you write down your activities for that block of time. 7 to 7:15, role play. 7:15, 7:30. You know, made coffee, had coffee in the office. 7:30 to 8, prepared for my calls. 8 to 8:30, made calls. 8:30 to 9, made calls, whatever it is. You track your time hour by hour by hour. It's a little bit tedious. It's a little bit grueling. It takes effort. It takes energy. But there's some things that you learn, that you glean from that process that are so incredibly valuable. Like so valuable. So Joe, when you do that activity, what do you learn? What are you learning? What did you learn? Tell us about your experience there. That's interesting that you're doing that now. Good for you.
So Lars, one of my mentors, he's the one that said, "Hey, do it for 2 weeks." And I just started it yesterday. It's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
So it's every 15 minutes, and be as specific as you can and write it down. And at the end of the day or the next day, break it down into whether you're working on the business, in the business, admin, self-care, family and friends, media, or miscellaneous. And by that, he meant when you're working on the business, you're your own business, whether you're on a team, an individual, own a team, run a team. You're not working in it. You're not generating leads. You're not doing that. You're building the business itself. In the business, CRM, prospecting, things like that, admin, paperwork, we all know what that is. Self-care is what you do to make yourself better, whether it's reading, going to the gym, praying, meditating. But the big one that I'm finding is grabbing my phone and media time. That's your Facebook, that's Twitter, that's just dweebing out on whatever, is finding out that that's sprinkling itself in between. I'm taking a break from this prospecting call because I've been on the phone for the last 2 hours calling people and getting machines or talking to people, and I need a break. And that's creeping into a lot of places that I didn't think it was there before.
That's so you really are getting very specific in your kind of analyzation of your productivity. What I would do is what I used to do, and when I do it again, I'll do the same. I try and keep it very simple. Only 2 groups of activities: income producing, income servicing. I guess a third group is just, as you say, dweebing out, right? Just not even there, just like screw off time, right? So income producing activity, income servicing activity, and
Everything else.
non-productive everything else, right? So that's I need, for me, I need very, very simple. Am I moving my business forward? Am I just servicing my business, or am I just on another planet somewhere and doing nothing productive, right? So but what you learn from the process, this is the coolest thing. So Joe learned how much media was infiltrating his day, right? That's an important thing to know, because otherwise you go through the day and you think, God, I worked hard today. Then you actually take note and you said, holy shit, I actually spent an hour and a half on social media today, or whatever, or watching videos, or who the hell knows? I mean, it's really fascinating. So the 2 things that happened to me when I did that study last, the time versus motion study, the first thing is that it made me more productive. It simply makes you more productive because you're focusing. I got to write this down, right? I have to write it down. So do I choose to pick up my phone and watch YouTube videos, or do I choose to do something productive for my business? So naturally, it is going to make you more productive because you're paying attention. That which you're focusing on gets better. It's really very simple. It's not very complicated. You focus on it, it's going to get better. So it makes you more efficient. The second thing that you realize is just how many gaps there are in your schedule, just how many holes there are in your schedule. You know, like Joe was saying, wow, I saw that social media, other media was just sprinkling and finding its way into my day. It is
I took that
shocking.
cue from Sean last week when we were talking, and Sean said he was able to step his prospecting up to 5 hours a day. And I looked at my calendar and I looked at what I was doing before I even talked to Lars about this. And he's like, figure out, take your day and block it down into 15-minute blocks. And if Sean can take a 3-hour prospecting day as average and bump that up to 5, why can't I?
That's right. It's really cool participating and speaking with other people because it gives you access to things that sometimes you didn't even know you had access to. It makes it very real. It ties it down in a very real way. Sometimes when you speak with some of these great producers, it's almost like you watch this inspirational video about, you know, Kobe Bryant and how his work ethic was just off the charts. Like, yeah, but that's Kobe. You know, I can't relate to that. But, you know, there's a relatability to, you know, Sean says, hey, this is what I do. And it's like, okay, he's just like me. I'm just like him. We are no different. If he can do it, damn it, I can do that. He just proved to me that I could do that. So I like the way that we're creating, you know, Sean's, we're creating Sean's like, he has now this personality of someone that goes 5 hours a day. I bring it up all the time. So Sean, now it's like, oh shit, I got to do that again now, I guess, right? That 3 hours don't cut it. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're known as the guy, right?
yeah, you're really putting that pressure on me, man.
Yeah, I am. I totally am. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. So that's great. So yeah, doing that time versus motion study. I mean, just try it for a day, and I'll tell you, you know, it's hard work. It actually is, but how hard can it be? It is. You have to really focus. You forget and to do that. But it's one of these things as a business person that I would say 99.9% of the agents on the planet will never, ever, ever take the time or the effort to do something like that. But it's one of those little things that if you really care about improving your business and making it better, this is a great exercise. This is one of those little things that has a huge impact. If you're always asking yourself, how come I can never just reach that goal? How come I can never just make myself do the prospecting? How come I say I want to practice my scripts. I never actually, you know, do it or figure out the time, or, you know, I've been wanting to work out and I keep slacking on that. Or I say I want to get to bed earlier and there I go, staying up later, just, you know, watching the comedy special or Netflix or whatever. By doing this time versus motion, you're actually making a commitment to yourself to track and write down what you're doing every day. And it's one way to really push the ball down the field. It really makes things happen in a way that I haven't found anything else works that effectively, because it ties you down to the present every moment of the day. You don't allow yourself to be stuck in like, oh, what's going on later today? Or let's think about, well, remember that happened yesterday with this person or that call, or I can't believe. No, you're like present every moment. What am I doing right now? Am I doing the most effective thing to move my business forward right now? Am I on track? And it's a staying focused right in the present is just a wonderful place to be if you want to be effective. Next point regarding your daily schedule. Your daily schedule should be kept in a place where it can be seen by many people, seen by yourself. Well, honestly, first of all. So do you have a schedule? And B, if you have a schedule, is it posted somewhere? Accountability is absolutely critical. So is it posted at home where you can see it when you get up in the morning, where your family can see it? Is it posted in the office? You know what I used to do is on my door, I would have a sign that just said stop, do not enter because I'm prospecting, right? It's important to let the people around you know what's important to you, and having a schedule posted somewhere where people could see, oh, okay, that's Mark's prospecting time. They expect you to prospect. It holds you accountable. You hold yourself accountable. So very, very important to have, if you do have a schedule, and if you don't, create one. And number two, once you have one, post it all over the place. Post it all over the place. And again, it's a working document. It is a malleable document. You can make changes so that it's effective for you. It doesn't have to be, show up at the office at this time, go to the bathroom at that time, have an 18-minute snack at this time. Like, if that's not who you are, don't do that. Don't give yourself that kind of unreasonable pressure. You can start with something as simple as time blocking. Okay, these are the most important things I got to do today. Prospecting. Sorry. I want to prospect for 2 or 3 hours, whatever the number is. I want to do, 1 hour of lead follow-up. I need to grab some lunch. I want to go door knock 3 past clients, and then that'll be a complete day for me. Good. Time block it and make it happen. Simple, doable, moves your business forward. Next point. To be stronger in your schedule, this point, I want to change it a little bit. To really be strong in your schedule, understand what your personal motivation is. We'll say it that way. Understand what your personal and business motivation is. Why would you even want to stick to a schedule? Why go through the hassle? Why go through the trouble of actually creating a schedule? Is it because other people do it? No, that's not a good reason. What is your personal motivation? What are you trying to achieve? What are your goals? Are those goals important to you on a scale of 1 to 10? When you start answering these questions, it actually is almost like gas in the tank to execute on that schedule. A schedule is great, but without any goals, without any personal level of motivation to follow that schedule, that's the point. Then it's just like you're just like a slave driver for yourself, You've got this, schedule that can be kind of tough and challenging to follow, and you're forcing yourself to go ahead and follow it. But why? Why am I putting myself through this? Guess what? You really dig deep and find some personal motivation and some goals that really ring your bell, some goals that really resonate with you and get you excited and get you motivated. Then the schedule becomes like this golden roadmap. You love looking at your schedule. You love following your schedule because you know where it's going to lead. A schedule is just a plan. It's just a plan. When you have to make a road trip somewhere, you want to drive from, we're going to go visit Joe in Hampton Roads, Virginia. We're going to follow a GPS. We know where we're going to start. We're going to start in Manhattan Beach, California. I want to end up in Virginia. I need to know my starting point. I need to know my ending point. And it's going to route the quickest way. A schedule routes your quickest way to an effective day. And guess what? As we said, it's changeable. When you pick up tools along the way to learn what is more effective, you change your schedule. A 45-minute lunch is not effective. I need time to refresh. I'm going to make it an hour. I'm going to make it an hour and 15 minutes. Placing mindset breaks throughout the day, 15 minutes where I can read an inspirational book, watch an inspirational video, meditate for 10 minutes, whatever it is. That makes my day better. Good. I'm going to implement some mindset breaks. If I need to, leaving myself an appointment slot for 1 hour is never enough time. By the time I drive there, meet with the clients, it doesn't leave me enough time if I just leave an hour. I'm going to leave an hour and a half. So really understanding personal motivation is the key to really executing really wonderfully on your schedule. Next point. By the way, one way to, if we just look at that last point for a second, when you're really trying to determine what your motivation is, some people don't know what their goals are. So I guess the question for all of us is, are you clear on what your goals are? Are you clear on what your goals are? What do you got there, Sean? Here's a calculator to help determine your goals. What were you, let's just share it with us.
Yeah, I picked this up from another agent, geez, like a year ago. Basically, it's an Excel sheet that breaks down. You can change up your numbers depending on your metrics, but it goes down like what your income goal is, and then that breaks down to how many buyers or sellers that you work with, and that breaks down to how many people that you talk with, leads to conversions, appointments, and has all that conversion rate broken down to then give you how many people you need to talk to per week or per day. And you can use that as a starting point to then create a schedule that actually has meaning behind it, as you're saying, because yeah, if you just have, random schedule, it says, to do this and this and this with no data to back that up, the motivation to follow that schedule isn't quite as there, versus if you can actually break down the numbers and see, okay, if I want to make this income this year, that means I need to talk to this many people per day to lead to this many appointments per month to lead to this many, whatever. And then create a schedule based off of that. Then you'll be more motivated to actually follow it.
So that's great, but I would actually challenge that by saying this, because I don't know if that's super motivating, how many listings you want to take. Like, is that really motivating? So why do you want to take the listings? Why do you want to do those deals? Why do you want to earn that money? It's nice to earn X number of dollars per year, but why do you want it? What's important about the money?
So I need the money to pay off the $60,000 worth of consumer debt that my wife and I have racked up over the last 30 years of life. And the reason is we've already got $70,000 of residual income coming in. We're sending our granddaughters to private school, and it's putting a financial strain on us. And by eliminating that consumer debt, our residual income will sustain our quality of life the way it is, allowing us to experience life, giving us that financial freedom we need, and allowing us to spend that time with our family, which is what we care most about.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So now you're connected to now this is about spending time with your family, supporting your family, sending the grandkids to school.
I listened to you the last time we talked, Aaron.
Cool, man. So you really get connected with that. And then when you are having to do things that, listen, success is really doing the things that you don't want to do when you don't want to do them. It's not always fun. Going back to the Kobe Bryant analogy, you think he wanted to work out, wake up super early, go to bed super late, work out all the time, work out harder than anybody else on the planet? He just had certain goals, certain aspirations. So when there's things that you don't want to do, Joe, and you don't feel like doing them, I don't want to prospect right now, I don't feel like doing this. You think about those grandkids and how you can spend more time and send them to school and do those things. That is so much more inspiring than my goal is to take X number of listings, right? So,
well, the number of listings does help, but like I just threw in chat, realizing that you have $60,000 in consumer debt and having to swallow that,
yeah,
that's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah. But the first thing you did was got clear on reality. Like, let's be real with ourselves, right? How do okay, there's a mountain of debt here. Let's take this shit on. Let's go for it.
And there's plenty of money coming in, but we still manage to outlive our income.
Hey, so we all do that, dude. Welcome to humanity. I've had even myself, I've learned now since, but I've been in plenty of situations and I've had plenty of clients. I've had clients who make $1 million a year, but they spend $1.1 million. They're in debt at a very high level, right? And it was Dave Ramsey, I think, that said, "You don't think you can out earn your stupidity." Right? That's what I used to think I could do. I'll just work harder. I'll just out earn. Nope. No, my stupidity always catches up. I always figure out a way to spend more than I had until I just got clear. By the way, for those of you that are in debt currently right now, write down the name of this book, because this is the book that helped me get out of debt. And it was freaking amazing. Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. Total Money Makeover. It is so, so good. If you have debt and you think that you can't get out of it, read this book. It actually, like, by the time you get through this book, it changes your brain chemistry towards how you think about money. It is crazy. It is so simple. Simple, simple, simple stuff. But I mean, if you have kids, buy it for your kids. If you have friends that need help, and if they're under a mountain of debt, buy them that book, Total Money Makeover. What I was going to say earlier is when you're really establishing your goals, if you're having trouble saying, I don't know what my goals are, where do I even start? Like, I know I want to make more money, but I'm not sure why. I think I'm comfortable. I mean, well, that could be one of the problems. You're just comfortable, complacent. Well, my wife works, my husband works, whatever. Like, we have money coming in. So some things that you can do are answer these questions. Places you want to go. Places you want to go. Things that you'd like to do. Or things that you would like to have. You start answering those questions, you will start to uncover some level of motivation and excitement. Joe mentioned he's paying for school for his grandkids. That's something he'd like to do. Spend more time with my grandkids. Something you'd like to do. So where would you like to go? What would you like to do? What would you like to have? Not everybody wants to have, the fancy Rolex. That's not everybody's thing. Not everybody wants the Ferrari. Some people want, but boy, I'd love to have 50,000 a month in passive income. That would allow me to, be with my family, take them on the most incredible vacations. I've been wanting, my whole life, I've wanted to go to Italy, and I want to take, my dad's getting up there in years. I want to take my dad and my brother and his kids and everybody, and I want to take our first class vacation to Italy, and I want to bring them all. It's like, whoa, that's exciting stuff. Okay, let's make a plan out of this. How many listings do I have to take? How many sales do I have to make? How much money do I have to earn? Let me go ahead and start looking up. Let me jump online and start to plan this trip. Let me cut out some pictures. The sites that I want to do. I'm going to create a little vision board and a dream board about it, and I'm going to post it up my wall. So when I'm prospecting, I'm looking right at it and I can feel it. Like how many, X number of listings is going towards me making that trip a possibility and a probability and a reality. Like, really get clear on that. It doesn't have to be anything as exciting as a first class trip to Italy either. It can be something as simple as getting out of a mountain of debt. 60 grand, I want that gone. 12 months, I want that history. 6 months, I want it gone. And my whole focus, my whole world is that goal. So it's just one really kind of fun exercise to do. Places that I like to go, things that I like to do, and things that I like to have. And take yourself through that exercise. It's a super fun thing. It's a gift that we don't give ourselves a lot of. Take some time and actually write down places you'd like to go. If you could take a trip anywhere, or if you want to take multiple trips, where would you go? What would you see? What are some experiences you'd like to have? Would you God, I'd love to go whitewater rafting down whatever river in Colorado. I like to go heli skiing, in backcountry in Utah. I'd like to go, ride horses on a dude ranch for a week or whatever. Places you'd
You're
like to
thinking
go.
small. Why not go horseback riding on Magnetic Island off the northeast coast of Australia?
While heli skiing, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
wait, I've done that, by the way.
Awesome. So yeah, I mean, give yourself the gift of really taking some time to write these things down. Allow yourself to mentally go there. Allow yourself to emotionally go there. Have you ever actually done that? Places you'd like to go, things you'd like to do, things you'd like to have. Boy, what would I like to have? I'd like to have a $40,000 Rolex Presidential. I actually don't want to have that, but if it's something that you would like, write it down. Oh, I could never do that. 40,000, that's too much to spend on a watch. I would never, I don't deserve. Whoa, look at that self-talk. I don't deserve that. That's not who I am. It's like, it's so funny that the limiting beliefs that we have, right? All the self-limiting thoughts that we have. So that's just another additional exercise that, take 30 minutes and just start just pouring that out onto a piece of paper and kind of see how you feel towards that. See if it really helps us to understand what kind of limiting beliefs we have. Do you feel like you deserve to have all that stuff? Some people don't. So it's kind of a crazy thing to think about. Of course I want to make more money. Who wouldn't want to make more money? Until you start asking yourself those questions, and you say, well, I don't need that much money. And I said I want to make 120. $1 million, that's too much. Oh, interesting. Who says? So just super interesting stuff. Before we jump off, is anybody dealing with any challenges that they'd like to bring up to the group that we can approach as a group and help everyone out with? Anything at all? Phil, what you got, man?
So I've literally been crying for the past month, just tears coming out. I had about 2-3 clients that I was working with, and they went just directly to the listing agent. About $7-8 million worth of loss. I mean, missed opportunity. What did I do wrong? My wife keeps on telling me you didn't stay connected, you didn't connect with them, they didn't see the value in.
It's a gut punch, isn't it?
It's it's been like a month. I'm like, it's killing me. It's just killing me. What did I do wrong? Specifically, yeah. I mean, it's pretty decent amounts. We talk about, about 8 million worth of sales.
Yeah. Yeah. And then not only that, it's not it's not just 8 million. Then of course you do the natural calculation. What's 2.5% of 8 million, right? 8, 16.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
That's $200,000. Shit, $200,000. Well, first of all, has that ever happened to anybody on the call where it's happened to me, they went directly to the listing agent, or you just have someone that's like your friend, they should be listing the house with you, they live with someone else, like, so yeah. This is the first thing there's a couple of things that I would say towards this. Number one is, it is absolutely 100% of the time going to happen in this business. In fact, the more business you do, the more it will happen. So that's the first thing, just to acknowledge the fact that it will absolutely happen. 2 years ago, no, it was before COVID. So it's probably 3 years ago. I had at the same time, two $10 million listings. Two of them. Both of them. One was right on the beach in Redondo. Another one was this huge, amazing, like triple lot, 100-year-old, like super custom house. Two of them. One of them, in both cases, I said to the clients, we're overpriced. We need to drop the price to about $8 million on both of those houses at the same time. And both of them said, nah, we don't want to do it. We'll just pull it off for a while. I said, great. When you're ready to relist, let me know, because there's no one's going to work harder for you. I mean, one of the houses, I got it onto freaking Channel 5 News. It was on the front page of the LA Times real estate section. I mean, and I didn't pay any money for that. It was just through making connections with people. Like, I did amazing things, I thought, right? Well, in one case, they decided to list with another agent for a higher price, but then the agent eventually lowered it and got it sold. They ended up selling for, maybe $7 million, whatever. And the other one, his partner in the house decided to go through an auction company, and they auctioned the property and they sold that one. In both cases. And I'm thinking, I'm going through the same things. Now, fortunately, that happened to me at a point in my career 3 years ago where I had learned from this in the past. So believe it or not, I was able to be somewhat detached, not totally detached, but somewhat detached. And so the first thing to realize, Phil, is that shit happens. To think that everything is going to go your way all the time is simply not a fair expectation to yourself. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to realize that sometimes you actually are the beneficiary of those occurrences. Sometimes there's another agent somewhere that's saying, that client was my client. They went directly to Phil and they bought that damn property. So realize sometimes you are the direct beneficiary of people's lack of loyalty, right? This happened to us 3-4 months ago, where Elizabeth on my team, her neighbor, her friend, her client went directly to the listing agent. So there are scripts that we use. Now, could you have built better rapport? Possibly. Could you have utilized a script to say the importance of working with a buyer's agent that is devoted to protecting you? This is a multi-million-dollar purchase, and you have to understand the listing agent has a contract with the seller. They have a fiduciary responsibility to represent the seller. Now, on a multi-million-dollar, if you're in a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, are you going to use the other side's attorney? Or do you think you'll hire your own? And there's a reason why there's such thing as a buyer's agent and a listing agent. There's a reason why dual agency representing the buyer and the seller is actually illegal in some states. It's legal in California, but there's a reason why it's illegal in some states. Now, even after all that explanation, some people are just going to go to the listing agent. What really helped me to, when both these $10 million listings just flew away like little parakeets, like little birds. What really helped me is I had other business that I was doing. One of the best things that you could do is to go back to basis and generate. I heard from a guy named Dave Abdallah, who's an incredible agent. He's a Mike Ferry agent, but he works for Century 21 in Michigan, does like 300 or 400 deals a year, just crushes it. On the phones with expires all day long, sets 3 or 4 appointments a day. Just, this is not like he has a big team. He just crushes it. And he said to me, if you generate, you don't have to tolerate. If you generate, you don't have to tolerate. So when those 3 transactions back to back to back are, first of all, listen, it's okay to mourn that loss. It's 200 grand, right? Now, you never had what, you never really had it. They just went somewhere else. Mourn it for 5 minutes, keep it short, have a short memory and move on, because being depressed about it and taking you off track is actually not benefiting you. Use this as fuel to now say, how can I be better? How can I be stronger? How can I be a better communicator? What do I have to tell my clients in advance? Maybe there's some scripts and skill that you learned from this to share with your clients. This is why I work for you. This is why agents just don't go directly to the listing agent. Maybe you are able to share that, with a new buyer that you're working with. Like, great, let me share with you how I work. Let me share with you what I'm going to do to help you get your property. Here's kind of a little Q&A that we go through. Some people say, oh, why don't I go directly to the listing agent? This is exactly why you don't want to do something like this. Like, you could just grab the bull by the horns and have those very straightforward conversations. But I will say, just from my own personal experience, what really helped me to get over any challenges in the business is to say, I'm going back to my generation, my lead generation. If I generate, I don't have to tolerate. I can't have, I can't count money that I never earned. I'm sometimes going to be the recipient of good fortune, and sometimes shit hits the fan and it goes another direction. And guess what? To those listing agents, this is hard to say, but now I've learned to say this. Good for them. Good for them. I'm glad they got it. It just drives me to go get more. And I'm going to make sure that thing swings in my direction next time, because I'm going to be the damn listing agent, right? But I would say it comes back to generation. It's not like anything that maybe like makes you feel any better, but it's one of the aspects of business. Business is brutal. It can be. So I try and make it more of a game and just say, you know what? Let me get on the listing side of things. That's one heck of a way to call the shots. is to have total control over, you know, that situation. Tony Robbins said, there are things that you can control and things you can't control, right? Focus on the things you can control, right? Can I control someone that's just not loyal? I can't control that. Would you do that to somebody? No. You know, I had a car guy, a guy that helps me get cars, right? Because I have a broker. It's just better than going to a dealership and putting yourself through that brain damage of sitting in a dealership for 6 hours. So I got this car broker, Ralph. Well, before I had Ralph, I used a guy named Mark. And Mark was a really great car broker. And my buddy introduces me to Ralph. And I said, no, I got a guy. Mark is my guy. I work with Mark. And so Mark was getting us a car, and my buddy and this other guy goes, just talk to Ralph. I set up a call. Fine, I'll talk to Ralph. Called on the phone with Ralph. Ralph, I already got a car guy. He's my guy. He helps me get my wife, myself, my friends. He gets cars for us. He gets us great deals, and that's who we use. And Ralph goes, no problem. Let me go ahead and just at least tell me what kind of car you're getting. Let me see if I can do better. I said, Ralph, I appreciate it, but I'm going to use Mark. I'm just letting you know. But if you want to go try, that's fine. All right. So Ralph tries, and he says, I can get you this car at this price. It's like, holy shit, that's a great price. So I call up Mark, and I said, Mark, this guy Ralph was referred to me. I don't want to use him. I want to go with you, but he can get the same car at a cheaper price. Can you just go ahead and match that so I can just work with you because you're my buddy and I want to work with you? He goes, give me a few minutes. Calls me back. I can't match that price, dude. You need to go with Ralph. I was like, are you kidding me? So Mark couldn't help me, but Mark put time. I wrote Mark a check. I appreciate what he did for me because I know what it's like to be in sales. I don't just, use people like, right, Phil? I mean, you being a salesperson, you get that. These people, what do they care about? They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They care about themselves. Human nature. So use this as, what could I have done better? What can I learn from this? But be okay with the fact that some people are just disloyal. That cannot be controlled. But what can you control? I can control, taking this to say, now I'm really going to reach out to my database. I'm really going to share with them the value that I bring. I'm really going to connect with them and be the real estate resource for them. I'm really going to work on asking for referrals for the people that are important in their lives. And I'm really going to work on the fact that I want to be on the beneficiary of those situations sometimes, because now they might have, through a friend of a friend, you get referred to them, Phil, and they might have the guy that sold them their house. And then they work with you. And the guy, that poor guy is sitting there saying, I sold them the house. How can they be disloyal? Guess what? Most of my clients are somebody else's past clients. That's just reality because I'm a prospector. My team is a prospector. It's not like every client we work with has never worked with another real estate agent before, right? They all are somebody else's past clients. Any home that we sell, somebody else sold them that home. We've been in the business long enough. Sometimes we're reselling homes that we sold for those clients, but the majority of the time we prospect, we find people, they don't keep in touch with their agent doesn't keep in touch with them. We list and sell their property, we're their agent now. So for what it's worth, I would just now lean hard back into pouring into your database more than ever. Don't use this as an opportunity to become cynical and jaded by it. Use it to lean and say, you know what? I accept the fact that this happened and I'm going to do even better. I'm going to pour even more value, even more love, even more, support to this group of people. And it will come back tenfold, I promise you. But it happens. It happens.
Yeah, Phil, this has happened to me a lot. On both the real estate side, that happens to me on the loan side. I mean, 3-4 times a year where some bank rep will come in and undercut. And somebody that I've written 5 loans for will all of a sudden leave and go somewhere else. And the important thing I think for you to realize is, although you probably didn't do everything right, you also probably didn't really do anything wrong. Because if your gut told you to give them space or whatever, you have to trust that. And really, to follow up on what Aaron's saying, the best thing you can do right now is to look. I always use the analogy of driving when these things happen, where I look out the windshield. I may glance in the rearview mirror, but I'm not staring in the rearview mirror, because if you look in the rearview mirror too long, you're gonna wreck. So look forward and not backwards when this kind of stuff happens. It's the only thing you can really do that's healthy.
And that's a great point, Dave. There's a reason why the rearview mirror is this big,
Right.
and the windshield is this big.
Right.
It's more important to be looking through the windshield.
And like I said, you can, and believe me, I lay in bed at night and watch my ceiling fan go around and go, how did I fuck this up? And the reality is you didn't. It's just one of those things where, you trusted your gut, you trusted your instincts. Maybe next time you'll do it different. But what happened with these clients, you didn't do anything wrong. You just probably didn't get everything perfectly correct. And that's the learning experience. But that, use it going forward. Don't look back.
Well, the other thing is, even if you get everything perfectly correct, sometimes people they'll just do what they want to do.
Yep.
They just will. There's another interesting thing. We could close it with this point, which is professional athletes. This is their world, by the way. This is their entire world. When you're a professional athlete, think about it. So Dave, your daughter is a softball player, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you go to these tournaments. You can go to a tournament. There might be a dozen teams at a tournament or something, right?
There might be 60, but yeah.
There might be 60. Does every team want to win?
Of course.
And only one can win. There's 59 losers and one winner. And yet and think about professional athletes. There's only one championship team at the end of the season. There's only one winner at the end of the US Open or Wimbledon or any of these big, there's only one World Series winner.
Only one playoff team wins their last game in every sport.
That's right. So really what ends up happening, this is the world that professional athletes live in all the time. And you know what they say over and over and over again when you watch interviews with professional athletes, whether it's a golfer or any player, they say, I have a short memory. I have a short memory. Golfers, what they say is they never, as soon as they walk off the green after they've, finished that putt and they've had a shitty, run of, strokes and they really screwed it up, they walk off the green and they erase it. They have a very short memory. They can't carry that forward to the next hole. They can't carry that to the next fairway. When in basketball, you've had a bad string of games, you have to have a short memory. You have to get rid of that because you can't bring that forward into your next experience. So think about it. When you're a professional athlete, there can only be one champ. That means you lose more than you win. How many teams are going for that Super Bowl win? Out of all the teams, there's one winner. Everybody else is a loser. And these guys get paid a lot of money. These guys are like aggressively achieving, and they've done that their whole life. But look what they're doing. They're failing at an extraordinarily high level. So sometimes, listen, failure is just part of the process of winning and of getting better. You lose some, you win some. Sometimes winning 10 times as much means you have to lose 3 or 4 times as much. That's like getting battle hardened, and that pressure and this experience just makes you better. So there's something to this, but you talk to the people, talk to some of these producers in the area, talk to a guy like Dave Caskey, did 176 transactions last year. How many times do you think he lost? A lot more than you and I combined, I can tell you that. Talk to Ed Kaminsky, did 130, 140 transactions last year. So many times he walked out of there without a listing agreement or a buyer that went direct to the listing agent. It happens all the time. In fact, again, way more than you and I. But they're just using that fuel to say, I'm going to go out and produce. I'm going to go out and produce so that when I generate, I don't have to tolerate. I can just like water off a duck's back. All right, next, let me go find something else. That sucks. Would have been beautiful to go another way, but I'm going to go find my next one. So good stuff, because that happens to all of us. All right, guys. Thank you so much, everybody, for your participation. We went a little bit over today, but I really got so much value from the call. So thank you. I will see you guys next week. Have a great week. Go crush it. Take care, guys.